You also spent nearly $500,000 throwing a party.
We throw big events every quarter. We were in Hollywood. We had 1,000 people there. Cost probably $500,000. I think there's 3 pillars that you can build wealth on. 3 pillars would be entrepreneurs. The second is investing. The third pillar of wealth is influencer. Those who have influence, those who have relationships, those who can get attention will build wealth.
Welcome to the Digital Social Hour. I'm your host, Sean Kelly. I'm here with my co-host, Wayne Lewis.
What up, what up?
And our guest today, Ryan Pineda.
What's good?
How's it going, man?
Happy to be here, man. This is a cool little set you guys got.
Thanks.
It's a little something.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Nothing like your 100K studio, but...
We actually just built out another studio and an event center in the office. So we're just kind of, just like what you guys got going on here, investing for sure.
Yeah. You're ramping up on content this year, right?
That's the goal, man. It just keeps getting like more important and it just keeps growing. So it's like you gotta keep throwing money where the attention is.
I agree. It's something I put a major focus on this year. I was that shy kid most of my career, but it's time to get out there.
Yeah, that's over. So does your barber live with you?
He should. No, every Monday, dude, he comes to the crib and just get lined up right before I got because I usually do all my filming Monday and I'm like done for the week.
So you bang it out.
How many hours do you usually film?
On Monday I'll film for like 3 hours and then actually I take that back. Now I do Wednesdays too. So Monday I'll do like my shorter YouTube videos, any reels I got to do. And then Wednesday's my podcast day. So I'll go hit a couple of podcasts Wednesdays and I'm pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah.
You spent a lot of your life playing baseball, right?
Yeah, dude. I never thought I'd be a business guy or, social media guy. All I ever wanted to do was be an athlete. And so, I was born and raised out here in Vegas where we're at. And
so you're the reason why the Oakland A's is coming out here.
Right. I was like, guys, you drafted me, 13 years ago. I never made it. You didn't pay me any money, but you got to get out here.
Come to Vegas. Come check me out.
You were close to making the pros, right?
Well, I got drafted by them. And then, I moved up 3 different levels. So I started in rookie ball, then short season, then low A, then high A, actually 4 levels. Yeah. And then, that I still had AA and AAA to go and didn't get to those levels. But
wait, so even when you get drafted, you got to work your way up?
Got levels, bro.
Dude, there's a lot of levels. Yeah. It's not just single A, AA, AAA.
Some of the best players don't even make it, bro, because there's so many tiers to it.
Yeah. That's crazy because when you get drafted in the NFL, you just get on the team, right?
It was different. The turnover rate in baseball is super low, bro. They signed 10-year contract. They're there for years, bro.
NFL, you're there for a couple of years and
you're done.
You're done.
Baseball is up. They're there for a long time. Look at A-Rod.
You can play baseball till 40 probably.
Yeah, probably older than that.
Yeah, for sure.
And then from there, you got into real estate, right?
Yeah, while I was playing, I had to make some money because in the minor leagues, we were making $1,200 a month. And so, dude, it's crazy. So, in 2010, I ended up getting drafted by the Oakland A's. Then I said, you know what? I need like some way to make money. So I got my real estate license in 2010 and, it was out here in Vegas where we had just like hit the bottom of the recession. Prices were all-time lows. Houses near here were like $50,000. It's crazy. And so like as a realtor, it was really hard because if I did sell something, the commission was small and everybody else hated real estate because everyone just got burned, even though that was the best time to buy.
Yeah.
So it was a tough time.
Yeah, that was a tough time to enter for sure. A lot of real estate agents, I feel like, don't make a lot of money, right?
Yeah, I think they say like 10% make 90% of the income.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, that's all things in life, 80-20 rule.
But why do you think a lot of them don't make money? Is it too competitive?
I think that they don't treat it like a business. They probably just get their license and they think that,
something to post on.
Yeah, my friends will all use me. And it's like, dude, your friends have 20 other realtors they know too. You're not the only one, And so they just have this false assumption they're going to all these people are going to come to them when in reality, it's like, no, you got to market, you got to sell, you got to prospect, you got to go do all these things that every business has to do.
So you go from making $1,200 a month to $12,000 an hour. That's big. That's a big jump. You know what? That's how much he charges.
For a call?
His hours worth $12,000, right?
Man, I don't know what it's worth these days, but yeah, I don't do too many one-on-ones, but yeah, we were doing the math the other day, and it was like 5,000 an hour was like what it came out to if you were to just take the hours I work divided or however much I made divided by the hours I work.
That's 10 mil a year, right? 5,000 an hour.
Well, I don't work 40. Well, I don't work full time. So.
Oh, you don't work 40 hours a week?
No.
Wow, you got a good life.
Hey, he gets it done.
Yeah.
Wow. It's all about family for you then.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, also too, like, how much money do you need, right? Like, I'm happy with where my life's at. I'm happy, you know, I got a third kid on the way.
Oh, wow.
Congrats.
Thank you.
That's
and
good.
you know, I know that like, you know, God willing, my income will continue to grow, even
Absolutely.
not having to work, you know, 60 hours a week. I think the businesses keep growing year over year, so those should still just grow with or without me. We're constantly starting new businesses. We're now acquiring businesses. So
You have 6, right?
yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
What level of money was that limit where you were like, I'm good?
Dude, honestly, I hate to say this because on one hand, competitively, I'm always trying to get better, right? As an athlete, you look like you used to be an athlete too.
Yeah, I
What'd you
still
play?
work out every day. I play football.
Football.
Yeah.
So like you want to get better every day, right? There's always like the next level.
Yeah.
And so I think in business it's the same thing,
Right.
but you also have to have like your standards for which you're willing to go for it. So, you know, there are some people in sports, they're like, I will literally do whatever it takes to get there. And so they'll take steroids, they'll do whatever, right?
yeah.
And we know people like that in business too. They'll cut any corner to get there.
Right.
For me, it's like, man, I want to be the best business person I can possibly be within my own constraints of, hey, I only want to work these hours, these days. Hey, I'm not going to be in these types of industries. Hey, I'm not going to partner with this type of person, no matter how much they could make me, right? Like, so I think life's all about that. Is like figuring out what game you're going to play in, what are the rules,
And play that game.
and play it to the best of your ability.
What do you think the play is with JP Morgan purchasing all that real estate? What do you think that's about? Do you feel like they want to control a certain percentage of the market so that they can, you know, have a huge say so in where the prices go? Or
I haven't heard about what they're doing in real estate. I mean, like if you just look at JP Morgan in general, I mean, they just
They got everything.
they own everything. It doesn't, real estate's probably just a micro piece of I mean, they just bought First Republic Bank. They
I saw that.
you know,
they bought $1 billion in real estate.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's probably not that much for them.
no, that's not that much for them.
But
I was talking to, because they just bought First Republic for like 200 million or something. That's how much they had under assets. But I was telling somebody this the other day. They're like, so what bank is the safest?
None.
And well, I'm like, yeah, none. But JP Morgan would be the safest. I mean, the literal JP Morgan bailed the US out of the Great Depression. Like the entire banking system was going to collapse 100 years ago. Like go read about it. Like literally the president called him. They're like, yo, JP, like it's about to go down and we don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he cut the deal together to make everything survive and to, you know, get the US where it is today. And it's like, you see the same thing happening now. JP Morgan's still doing it. I actually, they weren't connected events, but I actually just moved my money to JP Morgan. And JP Morgan's different than Chase. Chase is kind of like their, I don't know, normal person bank. Anybody can bank with Chase.
He said,
Okay. The peasant bank. So JP Morgan is only ultra high net worth people. I think you have to have like a $10 million plus net worth to bank with them.
Bank with them, yeah.
Yeah, like you can't just go open an account at JP Morgan.
Yeah, no.
And so they had been talking to me for like 6 months about like moving money over there, and you know, they wanted to manage just different things. And so finally we did it. And then all this other stuff went down. I'm like, yeah, if I'm gonna trust somebody,
It's gonna be people bailing people out.
The guy who's always bailed people out for 100 years.
So what's the difference between the banks? Is there higher interest or anything?
So I mean, once you get to that level with like JP Morgan, and I'm not even like I'm probably their poorest client, right? Let's just put it that way. So they are all about relationships. So before, like when my money's at Wells Fargo, I don't know about you guys, but Wells Fargo doesn't give me anything. Like I get no special treatment.
It's scary to bank there.
No, and like they don't even know who I am, right? I'm just a number to them. JP Morgan and, you know, once you get to these higher end things are all about relationships. And so to give you an example, one of the reasons why we switched over there was I bought a new house and we were refinancing it. And I had some issues on the refi with a different lender.
Right.
So I said to them, I said, hey, what could you do on this house? The house was appraised for 3.9 million. I was trying to get a loan for 3 million. And they said, here, let us run all our stuff. And they're like, yeah, we can do it. And they're like, we just have our own funds. Like we don't need to go through the typical underwriting and all these things that other banks go through. Like if you bank with us, we don't even really want to do mortgages. It's not our specialty, but we'll do it for you because that's the relationship.
Wow.
And I was like, so what's the rate? What are the fees? They're like, there are no fees. Like we're just doing it. And
what?
Yeah. And so it's just
0%.
Well, not the interest rate, the fees. The interest rate's still going to be cheaper than everything else. Probably going to be like 6%.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is a one-on-one conversation he's having. This isn't like
direct.
This is like we'll do it for you type.
Yeah, and so that's what these guys do once you get to those kind of levels. It's all relationships.
That's sick. I want to get into some of your interesting spending habits. I saw you spend $2,000 a week on food.
I spend a lot of money a week on food, yeah.
Yeah, why do you that's a lot. Yeah, break that down for me.
So we've had a personal chef for like the last year, maybe a little over that now, but that's basically like $200 a day. So it's like, and that's just for dinner. That's not like the whole all day.
A week is 7 days, right?
5 days.
Oh,
5 days. Yep. So that's $1,000, you know, on the weekdays. And some days we do less than a full week, but whatever, right? I don't get them the whole week because we like to go out still. So on the weekends, you know, go out and eat. And so like if my wife and I go on a date night, you know, we might spend $300, $400, $500 for that night. And if we go on 2, or we bring friends, or we like
1,500.
Yeah, it's coming out to like 1,500, 2,000 a week.
Got it. Yeah, it's easy to do that in Vegas.
Yeah,
These restaurants are expensive on the strip.
I value experiences, you know, like I don't have like all these cars or like crazy stuff. Like I would rather just build my businesses, invest wisely in real estate, and then spend the rest on experiences and all the things I want to do.
Like traveling and stuff.
Yeah. Like I was just in Dominican 2 weeks ago.
Nice. How was that?
It was beautiful, dude. So good. You know, we're going to Costa Rica in 2 weeks.
Wow. How often are you traveling?
Well, my wife's pregnant right now, so like we're going a lot because we're trying to go now because probably in like 2 months, all of travel is done for the next 6 months, 9 months. So we're really like, all right, where are we going next? Where are we going next? But yeah, I mean, usually we'll go on one big vacation once a quarter. But, you know, I'm kind of thinking now as time goes on, and this is probably a couple years down the road, but just having like a second home somewhere tropical. And so we've been looking at these different places on vacation, but also
smart.
Yeah, investing.
You also spent nearly $500,000 throwing a party.
When did I do that?
Last week.
I think you're referring to my event.
Your event.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So yeah, that was we've said that as an ad before, but yeah, I mean we throw big events every quarter too. You know, I know we were in Hollywood last month, and you know we had 1,000 people there. Cost probably $500,000 to go get the venue and throw it, and you know all the after parties and all that stuff. But it was great.
You got a new event coming up too, right?
Yep. WealthCon's here in Vegas, July 11th to the 13th. Love to have you guys there.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, it's gonna be
another
$500,000.
What is that even about?
Yeah, so it's interesting. You know, I started out as a real estate guy, so everything I always did was real estate. That was how I made my money initially, and then I eventually got into like general entrepreneurship and started other businesses.
Right.
And then you know I started getting in social media and like started going on that route. And so WealthCon is a culmination of everything I believe you need to build wealth.
Gotcha.
And so to me, I actually thought of this on the way here, and it's something that I never really pieced together until now, but I think there's 3 pillars that you can build wealth on. And most people have one if they're like successful, but like the ultra successful do all 3. So the 3 pillars would be entrepreneurs, So, you're building a business, and that's how most people build wealth. They get really good at a skill and they build a business around it, and that makes them money. The second is investing. So they go from entrepreneur to an investor. So now, okay, I'm making money from my business.
Right.
How do I invest it wisely? Because, like Warren Buffett says, the number one rule is don't lose your money. Right. And so many good entrepreneurs are bad investors.
Right.
So they make money, they go throw it at whatever this thing is.
It doesn't work.
The next meme coin, and then it's gone. Right.
Pepe.
And they work so hard. Yeah. Pepe. And so it's gone. Right. So you have to become a great investor once you start making money.
Right.
But the third pillar of wealth is influencer. Right. Like at the end of the day, those who have influence, those who have relationships, those who can get attention will build wealth. The fact that I chose to start making content has allowed me to meet so many big people in the space. I've gotten new partners, I've gotten new investors, new business opportunities, and it'll continue to be that way. Right. So if you can master even just one of those, influencer, investor, or entrepreneur, you're good. But if you can get all three,
you're powerful.
You're just gonna kill it, right? Wow. So WealthCon is about that. I got guys who are just the most savage investors speaking, people who are the best entrepreneurs, and people who are the best influencers.
You got some heavy hitters there, bro.
Yeah.
You got some heavy hitters.
And you were able to assemble those speakers from your podcast, right?
Yeah. It's funny, man. Like, we've been doing this every quarter, and I haven't really had to pay anybody. Like, it's just everybody wants to speak on the state, because that's influence, right? It's like, man, because I have influence, I can go text whoever and be like, hey, you want to speak at my event? And the answer is yes. It's not even like, oh, here's my fee. It's like, oh yeah, dude, like I got you.
I'm there,
yeah.
Because any random guy, if they wanted to pay Grant Cardone, it probably cost $100K.
Yeah, I've never paid Grant $1. And him and I have done so many things together. Like we filmed on his TV show. He's come to my office for a whole day. We filmed podcasts. I've been to his office a bunch. Like, it's just, and it's not because I'm just such a great entrepreneur or investor. There's way better entrepreneurs, way better investors. But the thing Grant values is influence, because he's like, oh, okay. Like if this guy has some influence, it's going to help me out by being with him.
Too.
Yeah.
Sure.
Influence might be the hardest one of the three to get, right?
Easily.
You think so?
Yeah, it's the hardest.
You don't think so?
It depends on a person. I think if you got a certain drive and you're pushing, I think you can gain an audience. It's kind of easy to do that with social media, especially if you understand how the algorithm work, when to post, how to post. If you're just understanding.
So let me add one pushback to this. Is like, it may not, and I still think it's the hardest one to like even build from initial, but it is also the hardest one to maintain.
Yeah.
Because there's no like passive influence, right? Like the moment I go buy real estate, if I want to just be done,
you're done.
Just let it be.
Yeah.
And I'm going to build wealth for the next foreseeable future. If I build a business that's really good and it can function without me,
you're going to have to start another one.
I don't have to do it. Yeah. Like, it's just going to do its thing. Influence is not that way. It's an active thing that always has to be, adapted and changed to stay relevant.
Right.
You got to love it. The same way that
I agree, because people fall off, man.
Yeah. People fall off a lot. There's a guy who's hot for a couple of years and then they're gone.
Liver King fell off.
Yeah.
then there's somebody who will copy your whole style. Yeah. Like get his haircut.
And Liver King's a buddy of mine too. He might come. He might come speak at WealthCon.
sorry for that dig. I didn't mean that. No, but a lot of artists fall off. Like,
oh yeah, I mean, look at actors and music artists. They're the number one. Like, yo, if you don't put out another good movie or another hit, you're dead.
You're done.
Yeah. One of the tweets you tweeted I thought was interesting. You believe people that save 20% for down payment is stupid on a house.
Yeah. I mean, look. At the end of the day, when you're first starting to build wealth, cash is the most limited resource you have, right? Typically, you have time, you have hustle. Cash is the thing that limits you. And, if you're going to go put, say, 20% down on a house, let's just say, the median house in the U.S. is 400,000-ish right now, I think. So it's like, you got to save 80 grand.
Right.
That's a lot of money. And here's the thing.
Most people can't save that.
No, there's no way. You can't save 80 grand for most people. The only way to even get to 80 grand is by using your money to go make the 80 grand, right? So you can't just save your way to 80 grand in most cases. So, when you go put 80 grand in something, for all investors, we always want to have a high velocity of money. We want to like turn the money over as fast as humanly possible.
Right.
The problem is people buy a rental, they put 80 grand into this rental, and then it's just there. It's stuck. And you know, what's that rental make? It makes freaking $200 a month. It's like, no, that is not a good use of 80 grand.
Right.
At all.
I don't care how much it'll be worth down the road.
Right.
The better choice is, hey, it's not like I don't want you to own rental properties, but try and figure out how to own them without having to put 20% down.
So what's the way to do that?
I mean, there's multiple ways. One is use other people's money, right? So it's like, that's what I do in all my deals. I'm always using other people's money to go buy more real estate. Two, the BRRRR strategy, right? So if you get a good enough deal, you can refinance a few months later and get all your cash back out. So that's okay. If you're going to put 20% down then, and then you know you're getting it back here in the next 4 to 6 months, I don't have a problem with that. The other way is simply buying a primary for low money down and then, you know, turning it into a rental down the road. You know, it's illegal to do it right away, but you know, you can go get a home right now if you're a vet for 0% down. You could go get a 3% down conventional loan, 3.5% down FHA loan. So, you know, on a $400,000 house to save $12,000 is very attainable.
Literally.
You know, and so I would rather go to that same house, put 12 grand down. If I'm truly trying to go own real estate and build wealth, I'll go live in it for a year. And then I'll go do it again. I'll turn that house into a rental. I'll go buy another house with 3% down and just keep repeating the process.
Wow. I need to use that strategy.
I mean,
I haven't bought a house yet, so I could use that.
I mean, it's most people, because most people are locked into the 20% down. So
Yeah.
They don't even think about they don't even think they can buy a house.
yeah, they don't think they can buy a house. It's too expensive.
Well, your first one you get 3%, right? Or 5%. What is it on your first house?
It's not even your first. You could do it on any primary house.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
people don't know that.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
It's not like a one-time deal.
Yeah.
You can always do it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why
good to
you have
know.
events like WealthCon and stuff, so
Yeah.
people can go
Yeah.
and learn those different strategies and stuff like that.
Wow.
100%.
Yeah, it's educating.
I want to dive into family stuff because I know you're a big family man.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on homeschooling your kids?
Yeah, you know, we just made the choice to do that. It's interesting because my wife was a public school teacher, and we both are from Vegas. We both went to public school here in Vegas, and when we first got married, I mean, we were broke, and we didn't really think we were ever going to be rich, and so we just always assumed our kids are going to go to public school.
Right.
Then as we started to make some money, we were like, all right, you know, probably we'll put them in private school. Like, that's just what you do and whatever. But then as time went on, as I, you know, interviewed all these people on my podcast, there was just this common theme. Like every successful entrepreneur I interviewed, kids, they were homeschooled. And I was like, and I would ask him, I'd ask Cardone, I'd be like, why do you homeschool? And he's like, because, you know, if somebody's going to mess up their kids, I'd rather it be me. You know, like, he's like, you already know the school system's going to mess them up. Like, whether it's some crazy, like, leftist agenda, whether it's just sitting in the classroom for 6 hours learning things that aren't even applicable, you know, whatever. It's like, if they're in homeschool, I can teach them exactly what I want to teach them, both from morals and ethics to, like, actual skills that are going to be applicable in the real world. So, like, that's one thing. But the other part that like he and these other entrepreneurs have is just like the travel and the lifestyle. It's like, yeah, we're going to be traveling a lot.
They got to come with you.
They got to come with us. So, you know, we can't just pull them out of school for a whole month and then that doesn't fly.
Right.
So you kind of end up in this situation where you have to, like, and it makes complete sense on all fronts. And I think too, the stigma when how old are you guys?
I'm 34.
26.
Yeah.
Okay, we're both the same age.
Yeah.
So, you know, the stigma when we were in school was like, if you were homeschooled, you're a weirdo. Right? Like,
I mean, same with my generation.
yeah, like it is just like, dude, you're weird. That's not the stigma anymore. It's like, no, I mean, especially with online learning and just like, I mean, I run an online education company. It's like online learning is here to stay and it's going to continue to grow. Yeah. You know, metaverse will continue to grow one day and be where it needs to be, right? Like, so this learning from home thing ain't going anywhere.
So how long do you actually, is that for everything, or you gonna let them go to high school? Do they get to go to prom? Or you kind of like, nah.
My kids are so young, they're not even like, they wouldn't even be eligible for school yet. My son's about to be 5. He's my oldest. So, I mean, look, who knows where the world goes. Maybe he homeschools for however long, and then all of a sudden he's like, I want to go to high school and whatever. And I'm like, all right, well, we're going to be going to the Dominican. I'll see you later.
Right.
Enjoy it.
Right.
Because they still need to develop social skills too.
Yeah. And that was the thing too, was back then there wasn't like ways to develop social skills, but it's like, you know, when Cardone came to my office for a podcast, he had brought his daughter. His daughter, I don't know, I think she's like 12 years old or something. But she just literally goes into office to country to country and is just socializing with everyone.
Yeah.
You know, like amazing social skills.
Networker.
Yeah.
Already.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
She's just hanging out with adults all day and like, you know, understanding how to speak to them and relate and like hold herself. So like she was 1,000 times more mature and like social than a normal 12-year-old who just hangs around other dumb 12-year-olds.
That's what I was doing at 12.
I was playing the game all day.
Yeah.
For sure.
Do you believe marriage can make or break your business?
Yeah, you know, I tell people this all the time. They're like, do you think you'd be further along if you're single and grinding and everything else? I'm like, well, here's the case study. We like case studies and info. It's like, before I got married, I was broke. After I got married, I got rich. So like case study wise, marriage has helped me from that perspective. I would also say, you know, obviously having like a partner in life is it makes
beneficial.
Yeah, it makes the hard times better. It makes the good times sweeter. It's somebody else there. Like, dude, doing anything lonely sucks. Nobody wants to be lonely. I don't care how many, like, you know, lone wolves there are. They ain't happy, right? I don't think God created any of us to be just solo by ourselves. That's why he created Eve for Adam, right? So, yeah, I think marriage is great. Now, on the other hand, what I think is a lot of people aren't ready for marriage, right? Because I meet a lot of young entrepreneurs who are like really devoted to their business. And I'm like, that's great. You know, and they're like, I can't get married right now. Like, I just can't give up all this stuff for business. I'm like, kudos to you for recognizing that, because you would be divorced.
Right.
So you got to count the cost. Being married is amazing, but everything in life has a cost. Having a business has a cost. Starting a podcast has a cost. Being married has a cost.
Having all three has a cost.
Having all three has a cost. Then you decide to have a kid. That has a cost. So you have to decide, like, do your cost benefit analysis.
Right.
This is the cost of having a wife. There's financial, emotional, there's all these things. Is it worth the reward?
What did you learn about your body when you took the 10x health test? Because I just took that a few months ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
What'd you find out about your body?
Found out a lot, man. I'm really happy I took it. Like, I had a lot of deficiencies, vitamin wise, and some stuff I needed to work on for sure.
Yeah.
I haven't taken it yet, so
you should take it.
Yeah, I'm going to.
So Gary Brecka was on my podcast, who's Grant's partner in 10x Health and good buddy of mine now. And let me tell you, you know, as much hate as Cardone gets and just all this other stuff, you know, both of those guys like are very true. Like, they want to help, you know, and that goes for the rest of their 10x team too. Like Jared, you know, I text him pretty regularly whenever I have questions about things. But, you know, like Gary, you know, he came on the podcast. We talked about a lot of different health things. We reviewed my my results on the 10x health test, and it was super eye-opening. But, you know, after the podcast, we started talking because I had a few things I wanted to ask him. So, like, my son has some special needs, and I was like, hey, like, have you ever heard of like any treatments or anything that we don't know about? Because, like, here in the US, they just, like, if it's not FDA approved, which is like a huge scam, like, it's just a money making scam.
Yeah,
like,
FDA approved.
Yeah, like, then you can't do it, right? And so, you know, long story short, he got us hooked up with this stem cell research and these just different things, and so we've been doing that, and it's been super good for him.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, and you know, like, they literally, his team comes to our house whenever they're in Vegas, and they do it, and it's like great.
Wow.
You know, another one was, and I won't name names, but like, one of my friends who's a pretty big influencer's wife has cancer, and young couple, and he had reached out to me. He goes, dude, I know, you know, Gary, like, we're just looking for any kind of like answer or hope and everything else. And I was like, let me ask him if there's anything. Long story short, he's like, yeah, there's this treatment in Mexico that's like super big, and like, well, it's not big. Like the U.S. doesn't want it to be a thing,
Right.
because at the end of the day, like the government makes so much money, or these pharmaceutical companies, government, whoever makes so much money on sick people. Like that's
Absolutely.
yeah, like 75% of the pharmaceuticals in the world are consumed by the U.S. alone.
Whoa.
That's crazy.
That's the statistic. So
We're the sickest people.
we're the sickest people. We just keep giving ourselves more COVID vaccines and everything else, right?
Oh, God.
Like we need another booster, apparently, right? So, you know, and by the way, I never got vaccinated. So,
Me either.
number one though, he goes, let me see if I can get him to the front of the line of this new treatment, and you know, they did it, and she's like showing amazing progress from being like really towards the, like it was late.
Was it stage 4?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's just crazy, man. Like so yeah, I'm a big fan of Gary and everything he talks about. You know what's funny too is, you know, you talked about Liver King earlier. So I'd interviewed Liver King and Gary very like close together.
Yeah.
And they both have the same ideology. So like as much as Liver King gets hate too for all the steroids and other things,
Yeah.
his ideology is correct. Like him and Gary both believe you should just eat a ton of red meat. They believe you shouldn't be eating carbs or vegetables. They believe that, you know, you should be getting sun. Like vitamin D
Right.
is the biggest deficiency.
K12, yeah.
Yeah. And Gary, you know, sun fixes that, you
Right.
know, and supplements fix that.
Right.
So like they're very in tune with, you know, believing the same thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Only thing about it is that the red meat and the fish, everyone has their conflicting like beliefs when it comes to that. So it's like you don't know what to believe.
Yeah, you'll talk to a vegetarian who tells you one thing, then you'll talk to a carnivore who tells you the other.
And it's like
Yeah, it's hard to. I think, I don't know. I think there's only one thing I believe about just food is that for sure you need a protein. Like you need a gram of protein per body weight. That's the only thing I know for a fact. Everything else, like you could convince me both ways.
yeah.
Depends on your body too, because I took the gene test also, and then I found out I'm allergic to like all that bread stuff.
Yeah, I think everyone's allergic to bread, man.
Literally, yeah.
I think that. Yeah, actually, I'll take that. That's two things. One, I think everyone needs a gram of protein per body weight, and two, everybody, like if you eliminate gluten, you'll be good.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, like I've changed my eating habits. I'm more protein and vegetables and no rice, none
Yep.
of that pasta. That,
Yeah.
That's how I am, too.
Yeah.
We'll end it on this. What's been your best and worst investments of all time?
oh man,
Doesn't have to be money wise, just like in general.
yeah,
Could be time too.
time. You know, I'm always like a optimistic guy. So even like on my failures, I have a hard time even remembering them because I'm just like, no, that was like
Learning.
there was a
experience.
thing that made me able to do this next thing because I
Right.
did this, right?
Yeah. That makes sense.
So it's hard for me to just be like, yep, that was a complete, just terrible investment, whatever. But that being said, like, I'll say this, just like on the real estate side, like I've lost millions of dollars over my, 10 plus year career on just like bad deals. And it doesn't matter how good I get at evaluating deals. I've bought hundreds of homes and apartments and other things. And like, you still can lose. You like, you run all the numbers right. And then something happens. A contractor screws you. The market shifts. The government decides they want to double interest rates.
Right.
I lost 7 figures last year because of that. Like,
Wow.
who could predict that the government's going to go double rates, in the shortest amount of time ever? Like that, like impacted my business heavily, and it sucks. It is what it is. So that sucked. Now, did I still get through it? Yeah. I mean, thankfully, we had also a lot of properties that were winners to offset it. I had rentals that I could sell to offset it. So it's like instead of having this massive cash flow issue that most had, I was able to get through it. And, we still have some bad deals that are going to sell, and it's going to be done here in the very near future. But, real estate and investing, I don't care like how good I am, I'm still going to get losses, right?
There's still gonna be losses. Yeah.
Now, as far as the best investment, I've had many real estate deals that have made me millions of dollars. And so like those are great. But I would say, beyond the generic response of investing in yourself, I will say the investment into media was probably the smartest thing I ever did.
So the content.
The content, spending the money to hire the right people, spending the money on the consultants, spending the money on the studios. And I think that's going to continue to be a massively good investment. And that's why we keep putting more there.
Because your content is working when you're asleep. Somebody's up watching it,
Yeah.
studying
It's
it.
getting millions of views
Yeah.
without spending $1.
Yeah.
You have to spend $1. You don't have to, you know, you can be everywhere at once. You know, if you got a new product or service, you can talk about it and create content around it. Like, it's a skill that's going to continue to get bigger. And like when I see these other entrepreneurs doing, trying to do media even bigger, for example, you know, we're talking about Cardone. He's got his 10X Studios. He's like trying to produce his own TV shows and stuff, right? When I see Patrick Bet-David and Valuetainment, and he just made like Tucker Carlson $100 million offer, right?
Yeah. I saw
Oh,
that.
he did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he just offered him $100 million and equity in Valuetainment.
Tuck got to take that.
That's a lot of money.
Tuck got to take that.
should.
He
He
has
should.
to take that.
So, you know, you see Patrick like, hey, all in on media. You know, you look at Dave Portnoy with Barstool. He sold it for $600 million.
Yeah,
you look
that's
at
a big move.
like I see all these guys saying the same thing, doing the same moves, and you're like, yeah, this is they know.
Yeah.
This is where it's at.
Facts. I love that. Ryan, it's been a pleasure. Any closing comments, things you're trying to promote?
We talked about WealthCon. I'd love to see everyone at WealthCon. July 11th to the 13th. You can go to wealthcon.org to go get your tickets, go see all three of us. And, you know, we got after parties. The events are crazy. You know, we got, man, off the top of my head, Bradley, Brandon Turner, King Keto, Brandon Carter. Dude, I can't even think of all. There's so many. There's literally like 20 speakers. Anthony O'Neill, great dudes.
Yeah.
It's one of the best events in Vegas. It sounds
Yeah, it's
like.
gonna be lit. I'm there for sure.
Support this man, guys. He just spent $500,000 for you guys.
Just for you.
$500,000 to go network.
Yep.
Wayne,
You guys can follow me on Instagram, and thanks for watching the Digital Social Hour.
Digital Social Hour. See you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Peace.